Hello and welcome to Where Are They Now with Mario Toneguzzi on Megapix Media. Joining me today is Grant Fagerheim, who is President and CEO of Whitecap Resources in Calgary and former Dinos hockey player. Thanks for joining us today, Grant.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation, Mario.
Let's talk a little bit, first of all, about what you do now, Grant. Tell me what Whitecap Resources is and what the company does.
Yeah, sure. We're the Whitecap Resources is an energy company. We produce about 70,000 barrels a day of primary oil. At this particular time, we've most recently gone through a merger that closes in early January. But we started Whitecap Resources in just over 10 years ago now. Well, I guess it's 11 years ago now, at 850 barrels a day. And now we're up just over around that 70,000 barrels a day of production. So we've had some good growth and continue to focus on responsibly developed resources in Canada. So yeah, at this particular time, we're obviously going through a challenging time as we go through energy transition in the country. But we do think that Canada will lead on the way out here on the other side.
Well, tell me how you ended up becoming president and CEO of Whitecap. Maybe a little bit of your journey after you left U of C.
Yeah, well, after I left U of C, I was fortunate enough to meet some very, very good people there. And I started in the energy space with Dome Petroleum for a period of time. And that came through a connection on the fitness side by the name of Colin Ogilvie, who was working at Dome at the time and was a football player out of Simon Fraser University. And then I ended up with Dome with the Amoco merger. I was with Amoco for about a year, and I left, was recruited away to work with Scepter Resources, and took on many different responsibilities through my timepiece. And then I left Scepter Resources as we were being taken over. I went to work with Phil. I'd worked back at Dome Petroleum, Don Hansen, over at North Rock Resources. Worked with North Rock for a few years, and then I was Brett Wilson convinced me to start up my own company by the name of which was Catch Energy, and we had Catch Energy. We formed the first Trust Explorco in Canada, being a Claim Energy Trust, and Catch Resources versus Catch Energy, and then we formed another Trust Explorco idea, which is now still survives as a Claim Energy Trust. Claim Energy is a growth company, and we monetized what was called Carico Energy in 2008. We sold that to Barrick Gold, and then it took us about a year to start up again. A few of us that were working at Carico, we started Whitecap Resources in September of 2009. And I've been here as the CEO. I was the CEO. This is the fourth company I've been responsible for, and had some fun doing it and building with, bringing a lot of people alongside with me through a very venturesome time as we've gone forward.
Okay, let's reverse the clock, go back in time a bit to your playing days with the Dinos. What years were you at the U of C playing hockey?
Yeah, U of C, I was 1980, 81, 82, and graduated in 83. George Kingston and Gord Cowan were the coaches that we had. And then I stayed around for 1 year as assistant coach with Gord Jones. When he came, George Kingston had gone away. And then after that, stayed active in the alumni with Willie Desjardins coming in, and then Tim Bothwell, and now with Mark Howell. Yeah, I was very fortunate to play with some very good guys. And, if I talk about the enjoyment that I had in playing the game, it was about the relationships. It was about the friendships we made. And, one of my best men was Trevor Earhart, was my winger, and the Hallis brothers. And we had Rick Laycock. And I had the opportunity to play with Jerry Banks and Derek Spring and some, when I was just coming in, they were on their way out, Derek Spring and Jim Bertram and Ron Gerlitz. And we had some very good relationships. And just prior to them was guys I still play old-timer hockey with, Rick Heinmarsh and George Quinn and a bunch of U of C grads from that. Yeah, I still part of my life, being a lot slower. But it is enjoyable to get out with the guys from previous time period.
What do you think you learned during that period as a hockey player in the program that suited well for you, in the future and what you became and have become in the business world?
I think the success is team play. It's not individual in a team sport. I think the biggest thing that we learned that with the interrelationships that we have with one another, and it is being able to when things aren't going well, you have to work as a team, and when things are going very well, you have to celebrate as a team. And I think that bodes well. You certainly learn work ethic. I mean, athletes if you're going to be an athlete at the university level or at the elite level, the work ethic has to be there. So, and that was, whatever your upbringing is. I was fortunate enough to raised in small town Saskatchewan, and with my parents had a big work ethic, and I was never afraid of that. But I learned that definitely the interrelationships that you can learn through sports really apply into the business world on a go-forward basis.
Now, serve my memory correctly, you're from Estevan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Home of the Bruins?
Estevan, the College of Knowledge. Yep, that's right. Estevan Bruins.
Did you play for the Bruins at all?
Oh yeah, I did. I started playing with them when I was 15, and played with them for 3.5 years actually. So yeah, no, it was a good upbringing in a small town, and spent most of my time at either outdoor rinks or over at the Civic Auditorium, and that particular time.
So how did a kid from Estevan end up at U of C and not, say, the U of S or University of Regina?
Yeah, that was a funny story. I was actually at New York. I was at the Vancouver Canucks camp, and I was walking out. They were sending me down to the minors, and Tom Watt, who was a first-year assistant coach with the Vancouver Canucks under Harry Neal, Tom pulled me aside and he said, "Grant, you're why wouldn't you go stay in Canada and go to school? You want to go to school and things like that." And he said, "I know a guy in Calgary, Alberta, that would love to talk to you." And so I was on my way to the airport the next day. I changed my ticket in from going from Vancouver to Regina to get my car to go down to Dallas. So I stopped in Calgary, and George picked me up at the airport and convinced me to stay. And that's how I ended up at the University of Calgary.
What do you think you learned from George Kingston over those years?
George was very structured, and he actually had a big hockey mind. I mean, one of the things that he was about discipline, and coming from small town Saskatchewan in the era that I played with, the discipline wasn't the biggest. But I mean, this on-ice discipline was not necessary. What everyone wanted to follow, but he was very. We learned a lot from structure. He had his ideas and what he did, and those are my biggest takeaways. He was committed to, a structure. That's what I take, and I really respect now when I look back, respect what George was attempting to do with all of us.
Okay. So when you look at that period of time, Grant, what would you consider your highlight of your hockey playing career with the Dinos?
With the Dinos, I think when we went to, we held the national finals here, and in the semifinals we played Charlie Bourgeois and I think it was University of New Brunswick, and it was a battle, and ultimately we lost in the semifinals to them. They went on to win the Canadian Championships, the IAU Championships, but that was where you learned a lot about yourself, what we could get, what we would be able to get to, and that was when I talk about those interrelationships, the personnel relationships. You look at that team that we had that year, walked in, and we had an exceptional team, and it's hard to even reference the number of good players we had, but falling short and the disappointment that we did have. I mean, it was in one case, we were, almost on top of the world, and not being able to achieve our ultimate goal. Was you learned a lot about yourself at that particular time.
Okay, super. Well, thanks for joining us today, Grant.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, and it's good to see you. Take care of yourself, and to everyone out there, thank you.
Okay, thanks. That was Grant Fagerheim, who is the president and CEO of Whitecap Resources in Calgary, a former Dinos hockey player. This has been Where Are They Now with Mario Toneguzzi on Megapix Media. Thanks for joining us today.